Welcome back everybody to Wargroove 2. We're going to head down to what looks to be the capital, or what I remember the capital being. Helmheim Fortress, that sounds right. Rescue squad races to save Lord Valder, but are they too late? Seat of power in the land of the undead. Oh, click. Major Sia, we finished Shosa. We finished surveilling the fortress. We've bring bad news. Majesty, apparently there's no sign of Valder anywhere. Goons appear to be attacking Felheim Fortress itself. And Valder, I think he's gone, guys. Gone? Like dead? Can't believe it. Could say something to send him off. He's right here. To Lord Valder. Aye, to Lord Valder. Lord Valder.
Greetings.
Hello, children.
Valder! Valder!
You alright?
No.
No, I'm not. Your gauntlet, did you lose it? Stolen from me in the dead of night. So that's the cause of the fallow? What can we do to help? Help? We're done helping this place. Might be treaty bound to help Fell Lord of Felhelm, but without the gauntlet Valde ain't it. Simply as that. Been trying to stop us from helping Felhelm the whole time. What did they do to ye? Hola. What did they do? Blah. They killed Prince Koji's grandparents, that's what. Who would have thunk it? A Fell King and his undead ilk. They attacked without warning. The Imperial city nearly fell. Oh, Emperor, where are you hiding? Your wife put up such a disappointing fight. Just a kid back then, but the Emperor trained me well. When I saw the Fell King charge into the Emperor's chamber, I did it. I killed the coward. The gauntlet vanished in the veil of darkness. And when the darkness lifted at last, there was Koji's mom creating the head of his dying father. Cannot imagine the pain the gauntlet had caused. I have no need to imagine. I remember. When the gauntlet vanished, Felheim erupted into fallow. The Imperial City stands strong to this day. My village, it no longer exists. Do not speak of me of agony. There is enough in Felheim to last eons. When I became Fell Lord, I vowed to prevent the next fallow. Having failed that, I will do anything to stop it now. Help me or not, I will still find a way. I must. What do you need? A way to the fortress.
I will not fail.
I must stop her. You heard the man. Let's go. Who are we stopping? Need to find a way to get inside the fortress. But how can we make it across the river? We can't all fit in one balloon. If we close the floodgate, the river should be shallow enough for us to cross. Let's go! Turn 1. Do you know what balloons are? I know what balloons are. No. They're transport, essentially. Age review now. This is a character that can heal your other characters. It's generally not. Excuse me. It's not a great idea to use that priest to heal your low-level units, but it's a great idea to heal your high-level units, like golems, trebuchets. What's the other one? Ballistas. Basically what we want to do is we want to try to make it across from left to right, and take the other barracks that's in the south here. My plan here is I'm gonna put both of my leaders into the balloon, and we're gonna send them north to try to take, at the same time as we're taking the southern fortress, we're taking this intermediate fortress. And then we'll push inside the actual walls, if you will, after we've taken both bases and the airy, or whatever it's called, where you produce the air units. Not the one that's directly south of my soldier, but the one north of the river. So, and because of the way the ballistas are set up, we should be able to drop our commanders in on the other side without having to worry about losing the balloon. Not really big on transport units, unfortunately. They serve a really good purpose, trying to get foot soldiers and etc. But at a certain point, they just become cargo vehicles that are just like, all right, we're going to take this guy from here to here, and we're going to drop him off. Errol, I had no idea about Koji's family and his ma. Seeing all it must have been awful. I imagine so. Because I'm pretty, well, I don't know if Koji was born yet at this point. You could say he was born, you could say he was not born, and I don't, well, 20 years ago that would have been, no, he would not have been born. Sorry. I don't even know how old the Empress would have been at that point. She could have been easily, I don't know, anywhere between, I don't know her age, unfortunately. If I knew her age, I'd go back 20 years, and then we would have a correct, we'd know exactly how old she was, but I imagine she's probably in her 30s, if I had to guess. Maybe 40s at this point. So 20 years would have put her somewhere around 20. I say that only because I believe Koji has an older brother who's somewhere in the ballpark, about 20 now. So, I don't know. Hard to say. Particularly when you take such a long time between two births. I don't know. I'd have to look it up, essentially. So, we're not doing a super good job here. I want to clean off the 4 guys that are on this side, knowing full well that they're likely going to produce another one. In the meantime, I don't have enough for a Tengu. I can take you, do 72 damage. Can't get around to the archer, unfortunately. And I couldn't get to the flying unit either, otherwise that would have been ideal to send a Thunder Bear, as they're called, over. Koji. Dead. That was not great, but that to be expected, I suppose. That's mostly dead unit. That was a good punch. That's a live unit. Yay! We're gonna have such a good story to tell when we get home. Hey, Errol. Dave Fallum storming a fortress. Careful, he'll jinx us. He'll jinx us. Yeah, don't go saying you've accomplished the goal till you've accomplished the goal. Not that I'm superstitious. Much superstitious, I guess. A little superstitious. Examples to little superstitious includes, but is not limited to, when I was, this is probably about 10 years back now, I was convinced that the University of Pittsburgh Panthers would win, had a better chance of winning if I drank a Coke before each game. I know that not to be true anymore. Oh, nice. Like it clears a path to the fortress now. Not clever, we still got a fight ahead of us. Move it, on the double. Yes, unfortunately they produced a cavalry unit, horse unit, since I last checked. Not gonna let me go through the village until I kill it. That's a great unintended wall blockade. I've always found, and I've said this before, I always find that making spearmen in this game is like, you don't necessarily need one now, but by the time you get to the point, you know, 10, 15 turns from now, you're gonna need at least a couple spearmen. Because you're gonna run into some guys, or you're gonna try to take some villages that require either your commanders or your some stronger unit like a spearman to come in and knock the village down, if you will, so you can take it. Yeah, I'm not really sure what the right choice was there. Must thank you for coming to my aid. Mom says Prince gotta protect all his allies. Your mother's does not look kindly on us, I fear. Elder, are you okay? Yes, it's just different. To resist the urge to tend to the fallen.
Sorry.
Really messed up your soldiers, aren't we? Perhaps you do have mercy today. If I revived them now, they would just succumb to the gauntlet's rage once more. Rest in peace, dear friend. May the fallow trouble you no more. You feel bad that his guys are dying, even if they are undead. He treats them like people. Which, of course, it was the great curveball in this in Advanced Wars. Wargroove 1 was the fact that you thought you were fighting Felhelm the entire time, which technically you were, but it was because you weren't actually fighting Valder, but you were fighting the fact that the vampiress wanted to resurrect or get her hands, I guess, on the weapon, cacophony weapon. Something to that extent. I don't remember the story now. It's essentially she betrays Felhelm and starts a war across the country under the pretense that Valder started it, because again, the Fel Gauntlet generally makes people, well, allows them to control the undead, and summon the undead, of course, but you lose your sanity generally in doing so, and eventually you succumb to the rage, the dark urges of the Fell Gauntlet, which of course causes you to desire more power, invade other nations, and ultimately bring destruction upon on other nations until ultimately you're defeated and the Fell Gauntlet disappears again, waiting for its next master. What else? But that's like I said, that's the twist here is that Valder is actually like not, as far as I can tell, is not corrupted by the Fell Gauntlet, or he's able to control the voices in the Fell Gauntlet. And he also cares about his area, his nation. Both his living and undead people are the same in his eyes.
Let's go, Tenko!
So, it's fun. It's a fun little twist. I like it. Because, sort of like with the other, war games, you tend to have, okay, so this is Black Comet, or, Black Hole. They're evil, Some of their people are more evil than others. But they seek domination, is sort of the bottom line, and they're going to invade the other nations or try to trick them into weakening each other so that you can swoop in after all the war's been done to take advantage of their weakness. Which always kinds of... I understand, and I often talk about being a more civilized world, praying for a more civilized, peaceful world. But I understand human nature also, and that is when your adversary, opponent, what have you, is at his weakest is generally when you try to strike. And when you're at your weakest, you want to try to regroup and rebuild your power if possible, before going out and striking again, trying to create, in business, I'm thinking business-wise right now, when you launch a new product line and the product line doesn't work out the way you expected, and I don't mean like, oh, well, we expected this video game or this product to make $20 million and it only made $15 million. We still made a $15 million profit, but we were expecting a $20 million profit. That's a little bit of stupidity in my book. You still made your profits at the end of the day. I understand it's not as high as you were hoping, but unless you were gambling on profits being that high and you basically promised people wage increases and or bonuses based on that $20 million mark, I don't understand. I guess I don't understand business, maybe. I'm just thinking you made a profit. You didn't make as big a profit as you expected, but you still made huge profit in my book. But if you were to have, say, a product line, and it cost, say, $2 million from start to finish to engineer and get to market, and then that product ends up returning you, somewhere, let's say, not even a loss. We'll say you essentially broke even. That would be considered, I would imagine, a substantial failure, okay, in the eyes of most business people. Or, heaven forbid, you actually invest the money and you end up not getting anything out of it, even in the slightest. In turn, you're as a company, you sort of get a black eye because of that, and you sort of want to stay low in terms of like, okay, we need to reassess, go a little bit conservative with our investments in the next year or so. Make sure that we regain, stick to basics, all of the insert insert cliche here, essentially. And what you're going to do is rebuild your yourself back up, so that you have excess funds, excess profits coming in, so that you not only can forget about the past failure, but basically have excess money to again invest in a new project. Now, businesses are always constantly investing in new projects. I'm not suggesting that you put another cliche, put all of your eggs in one basket. Oh no, no chicks hatched out of that basket, I'm fucked, sort of thing. You have multiple different places that you're trying to gain revenue stream from, and you're trying to push this smaller area up so that it can become super profitable, while say another area is starting to become obsolete or lagging. But in terms of war, in terms of governance, etc., when you have the advantage, you want to push the advantage. When you're down, or you're sort of your back sort of against the wall, you generally want to try to go with the flow until you're able to create a situation where you have a more superior hand, power-wise, or you're at least on equal footing with the public against your opponent. So, long story short, I sort of, when I think about the war that's going on between Russia and Ukraine, I certainly don't know all the facts, because what they tell you on the news is only a portion of the truth, whether that be Russian media, European media, American media, etc. But you can sort of get the idea that the war should not still be going on if Russia was as strong as they claim to be. And then in terms of manpower loss, etc., I don't know how many casualties there are and how many people have lost their lives or been displaced because of the war. All I know is that I imagine they're not sitting around, drinking tea and playing Parcheesi. Imagining people are fighting and losing their lives, and even if they're not necessarily losing their lives, you're losing technology, bombs, missiles, tanks, etc. And if you're a country like Russia, I understand you can't back off this now that you're so deep in, you're so entrenched in Ukraine. You can't leave because it would be seen as a sign of weakness. But in terms of taking advantage of something, like you gotta keep something. Maybe I'm mistaken, but you gotta keep something in reserve in case suddenly, whether it be the European Union or China or any other place on the planet goes kind of bonkers and decides, hey, we don't think you can defend your tundra anymore, so we're going to take that land for the betterment of those people, which of course is the betterment of whoever invades them. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to say the Europeans, China, or whoever's stayed neutral. I don't know how much aid anyone's given to the two sides, but I can definitely say that, like, for every tank you lose, for every man you lose, for every etc. that you're not able to immediately replace, I would worry about post-Ukraine. Whether you accomplish your goals in Ukraine, whether you incorporate Ukraine in Russia, or you ultimately fail and have to give everything up, I can't say. Where is that girl? Never leaving me with all these undead. Ugh, they're everywhere. Get away from me. Get back.
Vesper!
Vesper.
Oh no!
Oh no, I forgot she was here. I should have known that cow bag was behind all this, all the trouble she's caused us. S3's a beer as a banishment in isolation didn't calm her down. We're coming for ye, Vesper. Did you hear me? There's another DLC character from the last game that I didn't do. Got it with these dolph drafty. Oh, if they hear ye, let them hear him. I'll tear him apart, I will. Okay. What is, what's that, doesn't make a lot of sense there. I don't know. You just... When you have the advantage, you want to press the advantage. And when you don't have the advantage, you don't want to press... You don't want to press, or... This is where the psychology of warfare comes in. You know, in a game like this, there's no such thing as psychology of warfare, because the game is going to do what it's going to do, and you're going to do what you're going to do, and it's either going to work out or it's not. But in war, you can defeat your enemy without actually requiring a single bullet to be spent, a single artillery round, a spear to be thrown, etc. Let's go! We do strange things as human beings that that I guess makes us human. I don't, you know, like taking a day off so that we can celebrate a national holiday from war. It seems silly to me, but whatever.